بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بهديه. أما بعد. Tonight's lesson is on wal-Marjan فيما اتفق عليه الشيخان. We've reached Kitab al-Tahara, the second chapter, after successfully completing Kitab al-Iman. Alhamdulillah, it's been approximately a year since we started the book. Class was not every single day, but alhamdulillah, it was a very long drive, and we reached a part of our destination. We finished 133 hadiths from Bukhari and Muslim. 133 hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that are agreed upon by the two sheikhs with the classical explanations and fawaid. So the author rahimahullah says, Kitab al-Tahara, باب وجوب الطهارة للصلاة. حديث أبي هريرة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. He says Kitab al-Tahara. And when we say Tahara, it has two meanings, two usages. Number one, we say الطهارة بمعنى النزاهة، وفي الاصطلاح على أو في إطلاقين. طهارة بمعنى رفع الحدث، وبمعنى زوال أو إزالة الخبث. We say Tahara means two things. Number one, or even in English, because I was in Arab, but in English is a bit different. Many people say the book of purification, and that's not necessarily the most sound correct translation. Purification is to purify something, to clean something. Tahara could mean something itself going away, something itself being pure, being clean. Purity. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? He says, هذا طاهر. Doesn't mean that it's mutahhir, tahur. It's clean in itself. It doesn't mean that it has a cleaning agent. And they're two different rulings. Something can be clean itself, which means you can touch it, you can buy it, you can sell it, it can touch your skin, you can interact with it, but it doesn't mean you can use it for wudu and ghusl. Doesn't mean it can be used for istinja. Doesn't mean it can be used to clean something else. So it's not just purification. Purity and purification. Something could be tahir without being cleansing something else Islamically. And we say it's going to be used for ritual impurity and physical impurity. Ritual impurity such as what? When you pass wind. When you eat the flesh of camels. There's nothing that's najis. There's nothing that's filthy or physically dirty. But it is spiritually broken your pure state. شيء يعني معنوي قائم بالإنسان غير محسوس. We say a person has a ritual purity. Ritual pertaining to ibadah. We say the ritual, yani the worship. Something that is a must for you to have tahara, such as Salah, or in many issues. Making umrah. Tawaf. Huge difference. على قول باشتراط الطهارة. Making tawaf, right? Or making wudu after or ghusl after you bathe the dead. طيب. Or after janaba, or are these things, is it mandatory to make a ghusl for janaba? Nah, that's different. That's prayer. Is it obligatory to make ghusl of janaba just for janaba? No. It's obligatory to make ghusl for what? For salah. There's a big difference, ikhwan. It's a huge difference. You have to make ghusl just because you're junub. You have to make ghusl to make what? Salah. What's the difference between the two? And not even the difference, but the practical daily 9 to 5 difference. There's a word of difference. I mean, he's intimate with his wife. The moment he stops, according to you, he has to do what? Make a ghusl. And this next salah isn't until 6 or 7 hours later on. That's one ruling. The next ruling is, a man is intimate with his wife. He does not have to make ghusl until the next salah. Until what? The next salah. Meaning he can go to sleep, he can take a nap, he can eat a meal, he can go for a walk, he can do anything without having to make a ghusl. Which one is it? Janaba or salah? No, which one? Salah or janaba? You have to recant it. You said it. You have to make your madhab clear. It's a difference. Everybody understand this? It's a what? There's a difference. Tayyib? Which are the two? Salah. Everybody clear on this? These are things that you need tahara for. So these are ritual things. When a man has sexual intercourse, reaching climax or not, he has broken his ritual purity. His state of purity is broken. Even though his body is clean. There's no najas upon him. His wife, there's nothing that's filthy Islamically. Everybody clear on this? But he must, she must, they must now do what? Make tahara. They must now make what? Tahara. Everybody saying this? You're walking down the street and you step into some manure, as they say, dog crap. Tayyib, you step into it with your shoes in New York City. Before you can make salah in your shoes, before you can walk into a pure place or whatever, pick up your shoes, what do you have to do with your shoes? You have to clean them, whether it's with sand, with dirt, with soap, with chemical. Remember, you have to do what? Clean them. It has nothing to do with wudu. It has nothing to do with what? Wudu. You use the bathroom, you urinate. You clean the urine off of your private air. That is also, that's tahara. That's what? Tahara. Your wudu was broken as a result. But now you still have the physical that must be removed. Everybody understand? So what? You eat a piece of camel's meat. Hashi. طيب حنيذ. بس لحم مو بالميز لحم الجمل يعني. طيب فيه يسوي الحنيذ؟ بلحم الإبل؟ الله أكبر ما لسه ما. طيب you have some camel's meat. It's nothing dirty, it's nothing impure. Your wudu is now what? Broken, according to those ulama who say that. So tahara has these different usages. Physical impurity or spiritual impurity. It can mean you removing the filthy stuff from the bottom of your shoes, or the manure going away from your bottom of your shoes. In other words, you stepped in it, you put your shoes in your garage or the back of your work truck, and the seasons changed. That was in what? The winter. The spring came. Then the summer came. And it got so hot. It got so dusty. It got so dry that the manure just went away. Dissolved. Went away. Dried up. And crusted off of your boots. Now your boots wouldn't be clean. Everybody understands? Izala was zawal. Felt. Everybody understand this? Whether it goes away by itself or whether you take it or what?
Clean.
Away. Khayr inshallah. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? Yeah. Physical and ritual. This is crucially important for every single Muslim to understand. Every single Muslim has to have the basic gist of this. Everybody clear on this? You clear on this, Elijah? Physical purity, spiritual purity. Physical impurity, spiritual or ritual impurity. And there's a way of taking this away and removing that, or it going away by itself. Inshallah. So that's what's meant by at-tahara, kitab at-tahara. This is the physical tahara. There's deeper tahara than this, and that's the tahara of the heart. From malice, rancor, strife, hasad, envy, greed, cowardice. All of these different things is filth of one's soul. Illness of the soul. For a person to be greedy, never ever get enough. For a person to be a coward. For a person to just be envious and jealous. This is the greater type of tahara. For a person to love other than Allah. To take someone other than Allah and make him equal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is also tahara that the slave must learn about as well. but this is not the direct topic of tonight. Khair, inshallah. Everybody understand this? So the first chapter is the author. He says, before we go any further, know one thing for sure. This is not wal-Marjan. So every single hadith in this chapter is not going to be necessarily in the exact order. Because there are many hadiths on topics that are not found in Bukhari and Muslim. There are hadiths on topics that are what? Not found in Bukhari and Muslim. So the author is going to bring whatever he can to deal with the issues. If we were studying wal-Marjan, then there's a hadith for every single issue. Touching your private part, breaking your wudu in order, the succession. In Bukhari and Muslim, only the hadith that they choose to collect. They chose to what? Collect. Everybody understand this? And we've explained those books, those hadiths in wal-Marjan in order. Types of water, najis, tahir, tahur. Everybody understand this? Seawater, wudu, etc. Khair, inshallah. Hadith number 134. The author states, narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Iqra' Jamil, it says, للصلاة.
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل
لا يقبل
لا
لا
يقبل
لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ.
أحسنت. صالح. رائع.
باب وجوب الطهارة للصلاة. حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يقبل الله.
عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال نعم أنه is hidden مقدر. تفضل.
أنه قال لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث
حتى يتوضأ.
Not
pronouncing the last vowel when you stop. تفضل خالد. Not pronouncing the last vowel when you stop.
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي قال لا يقبل.
عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال
لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ.
Alright. The translation, please.
Narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah does not accept salah of any one of you if he does small hadith, passes wind, etc., till he performs the ablution anew. Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 8.
اقرأ جميل من حفظك. الحديث. تفضل. حديث أبي هريرة from your heart. Your next solid. Close the books. يلا. حديث أبي هريرة.
حديث
أبي هريرة مضاف إليه. حديث أبي هريرة.
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
أنه قال just like you're drinking this cup of tea. لا يقبل الله صلاة مفعول منصوب
صلاة
then it's مضاف أحدكم
أحدث
إذا
أحدث
حتى يتوضأ حتى يتوضأ. أحسنت. تفضل صالح. عن حرف جر.
عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال لا يقبل أحدكم
لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل الله أحدكم
لا يقبل الله
لا يقبل الله
صلاة
صلاة أحدكم
أحدكم مضاف
أحدكم أن يتوضأ
إذا
إذا
أحدث
أحدث
حتى
حتى يتوضأ
يتوضأ.
حتى يتوضأ.
تفضل خالد.
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أنه
عن النبي
عن النبي النبي قال
صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال
لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ.
أحسنت. تفضل سفيان.
حديث أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه.
حديث أبي
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال صلى الله عليه وسلم.
لا no. حديث أبي هريرة
رضي الله عنه
عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال.
لا يقبل.
لا, you have to do it right from the beginning.
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال
أنه
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال.
لا, go back. Gotta get it right. You're the fourth one. You heard all of them fumble and flounder. نعم.
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال
أنه قال
لا يقبل صلاة أحدكم. لا يقبل الله.
What we're talking about, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can you forget that?
لا يقبل الله أحدكم
صلاة
أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ.
طيب جيد. خير إن شاء الله. المهم, hadith number 134 is not translated the right way. Pass me the book. This is a perfect example of choppy translation, robotic and mechanical. It says here, the narrator the Prophet said, Allah does not accept salah, parentheses, prayer of anyone of you if he does, parentheses, small hadith, another passes when, etc., till he performs the ablution anew. Everybody understand this? Leave out the parentheses, the brackets, but it says here, if he does hadith, لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. المفروض, the translation should be, when one of you makes hadith, Allah will not accept his prayer. هذا هو. Everybody understand this? إذا أحدث أحدكم فإن الله لا يقبل صلاتكم أو صلاته. إذا أحدث, هذا معنى الحديث. إذا أحدث أحدكم فإن الله لا يقبل صلاته. هكذا يكون ترجمة. لا يكون ترجمة حرفيا. عرفت؟ لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم بين هذه جملة معترضة. إذا أحدث أحدكم. المفروض في الترجمة يكون هذا إما قبل وإما في الأخير. عرفت كيف؟ Everybody understand this? So the translation should say that when one of you makes hadith, Allah will not accept his prayer. Allah does not accept the prayer. One of you, what? Makes hadith, Allah does not accept his prayer until he Hatta yatawadda, anew. That's also wrong. Because anew means that he may wudu what? Hey, well. Everybody understand this? Maybe he didn't have wudu from the beginning. But for argument's sake, ahdatha, he made hadith. Okay, that's not the main purpose of our class. Okay, moving forward, what is important? What does this hadith mean? What's the meaning of this hadith? And what is the connection between the hadith and the chapter heading? It says here, the purification is compulsory for salah.
So it's about making wudu, about the need to make wudu.
What is the connection between the chapter heading and the hadith? That your salah is what?
Not accepted.
Oh, so if I make wudu, my salah is accepted?
It's not valid.
The Prophet didn't say that. He said, Yaqbal. Prayer, Tahara is a condition of salah. But it doesn't say that. It says acceptance. Allah will not accept the prayer. In other words, prayer could be valid without being what? Accepted. Like he can drink khamr. The Prophet says his prayer will not be accepted for 40 days. One hadith. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have to pray. Doesn't mean that the prayer isn't valid. He's sober, he made wudu, he covered himself, he faced the qibla. But his prayer is not going to be accepted. And then other hadith as well. A woman who's insolent and her husband sleeps while she's insolent and he's upset with her. A slave who runs away from his master. Many different things. A man who leads the people in the salah. وَهُمْ لَهُ كَارِهُونَ. The people hate him as their leader. The prayer does not reach their throats. Doesn't go past their what? Taraqiyahum. It doesn't mean that the prayer is invalid. But the prayer is what? Unaccepted. So there's a difference between validity and acceptance. ثم فرق بين الصحة والإجزاء. الصحة والإجزاء. قد تصح العبادة تصح الصلاة لكن القبول هذا عند الله رب العالمين سبحانه وتعالى. The acceptance is with the law. Validity is something that we know. نحكم على العبادة بالصحة أو بالفساد. القبول ورد هو. بس كيف نحكم عليها بالصحة أو الفساد؟ الشرائط، الفروض والواجبات. إذا استوفت الشروط واكتملت هذه الأركان وإلى آخره قلنا العبادة صحت. قبلت. So what does this hadith mean then? The chapter heading says it's mandatory to make.
You have to have wudu for your salah to be valid.
To be accepted.
But it doesn't say valid in the hadith. The hadith says accepted. Allah will not accept.
من شروط قبول الصلاة الطهارة يعني.
لا الحديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عبر بالقبول وأنتم تعبرون بالصحة والإجزاء.
لا سيد من شروط قبول الصلاة الطهارة.
طيب
أحد الشروط.
بس إحنا هو بوب بالصحة والإجزاء ما بوب بالقبول. عرفت الإشكال؟ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عبر بإيش؟ بالقبول ولا الصحة؟ أحسنت. وإحنا قلنا قد يعني أسسنا أنه يمكن أن العبادة تصح وثمة مانع ورد. The salah without wudu is unaccepted. No doubt about that.
There's no salah without wudu.
But that's not the issue of the chapter heading. The hadith says Allah does not accept one of your prayers when you make hadith. Until you make what? Wudu. Anew. Until you make what? Wudu. Everybody clear on this? Allah does not accept. Everybody clear on this? But we're not talking about the prayer being accepted or not. We're talking about the prayer being valid. No one knows what is accepted or unaccepted by Allah. Everybody got the point or not? You understand the problem, Amami? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only accepts from the muttaqeen. In the tafsir of that ayah from Surah Al-Ma'idah. واسمه بعد المتقين. والمتقون في أعمالهم والمتقون عموما يعني على أقوال في التفسير. Everybody understand this? The hadith says Allah will not accept. The hadith does not say that the prayer is valid or invalid. We don't know what Allah will accept. With wudu or without wudu. A person can have wudu and he can be prideful. He can have kibr in his heart. He could, maybe you scorned your Muslim brother before you came into the masjid. You saw him and you looked down upon him for a jahili reason because he's from another island or another country or whatever the case may be. I hate praying in this masjid next to these type of people. And filthy people, I hate them. Everybody understand this? This is a reality. So he's making a salah, but in his heart is severe furnace of what? Of jahiliyyah. Everybody understand this? He said racism, prejudice, tribalism. Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand this? He's from the border. I'm from this side, north, south, whatever the case may be. A person may make salah and he may be in a state of kibr, pride, like, my salah is, I'm doing a law of favor. The prayer could be valid. He had wudu, he prayed on time, he faced the qibla, he covered himself, he did everything he was supposed to do outwardly. But there was something inside that prevented his salah from being what? That only Rabbul Alameen. Only Allah knows about what's in a person's heart. We have that which is outward, that which is apparent. Everybody clear on this? Everybody understand this? We clear on this or not?
Yes.
So the hadith does not say validity, invalid, unvalid. The hadith doesn't say that. It says Allah will not accept. So if we say that a prayer could be valid without being accepted, the hadith and the tract that they don't mix. Everybody clear on this? So what does the hadith mean? Does it mean something else?
It means valid.
The Prophet said acceptance, but it means?
Valid.
It means validity. Yani, the Prophet ﷺ, he spoke on عبر عن ثمرة الصحة والإجزاء التي هي القبول. عبر بالثمرة والنتيجة. قاصدا ايش؟ الصحة والإجزاء. لا تصح صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. The Prophet ﷺ, as if he said, when you make hadith, you break your wudu, Allah will not accept, your prayer will not be valid until you perform wudu again. But he mentioned the fruit of it. The fruit of validity, the fruit of it being sahihah is what? Accepted. That's the thamara of it. That's the what? That's the fruit of it. The outcome of it. The whole purpose and the whole goal of learning about salah and fiqh fi deen is to get what? To ask Allah to accept your ibadah. In other words, if your ibadah is sahihah, you have a chance for it to be accepted. You make hajj properly, you have a chance for it to be what? Accepted. Inshallah, it's going to be accepted. Allah is not unjust. You didn't do anything, you have no bad, evil feelings in your heart, thinking this and thinking that. It's accepted. Inshallah. But if your prayer is totally invalid, if your hajj is totally backwards from the beginning, then there's no what? No chance of acceptance. There's no what? There's no what? There's no chance of it being accepted. Everybody understand this? Khalas, your hajj is balted. Malish. You didn't even do it right. You failed to perform the arkan, the pillars. Malish. A person did the hajj correctly, the arkan, the wajibat, so on and so on and so forth, and he asked Allah, Allahumma taqabbal minni. Everybody understand this? Because that's a favor. Allah doesn't have to accept anything from us. We have to constantly be mindful of this. It's a gift from Allah. That's why Ibn Umar said, for me to know that Allah accepts one sajda from me is better than the entire worldly life. If I go to sleep at night and I knew what? Everybody understand this? You have sons. You raise your sons. You try to teach your sons. You try to feed them with the halal. You try to give them a good education. You try to teach them to be men, to be responsible. Now, there's no guarantee that they're going to do what, Sheikh? And grow up how you want them to be. There's no what? There's no guarantee. But if Allah told you, or if you had a dream, somehow you knew for sure that at least one of your sons would be successful and would be responsible Islamically and worldly, how would you sleep at night? Just one of them. I have 5 sons, but if I knew for sure that what? At least one, I know for sure I'm going to die, and he is going to carry on the family. He's going to take care of the house. He's going to do this. I would be what? Qalbi. Ibrahim said, for my heart to be at what? At ease. But you don't know that. And that's the whole concept. All you can do is try to raise your sons. That's all you can do. Them being guided is in the hands of who? Rabbil Alameen. But if he doesn't even look after them, he doesn't train them, he doesn't teach them, he feeds them with the haram, then them being guided, the chance of that is what? Slim to none. Everybody understand that hadith? Got the hadith now? You got it? You got it or not? Clear, Imran? Everybody clear this? So the Prophet said he used the word qabul, yataqabbal, meaning validity. Everybody understand this? So the main lesson from this hadith, as you all said, is the obligation of making tahara for validity of prayer. But you have to be able to prove that. You have to be able to what? Prove that from the word of the hadith. Hadith says one thing and you say what? Something else. So you have to be able to what? Maneuver. Khayr inshallah. Wallah. Right, that's the main lesson from this hadith. The next, or as for the fawaid we get from this hadith, Salih is what? Yalla Salih. Stomach. Deduce from this hadith. Extract from this hadith quickly. Imran, you next. Stop thinking.
You must be in a state of purity for your salah acceptance.
Qulna, we said that already. Ishtirak, the condition of the salah is what? It's tahara. It's tahara. Not even tahara. The hadith says wudu. The hadith says what? Wudu. But other things are included in that as well. That's the main lesson of the hadith. We said that already. محل الشاهد من الحديث اشتراط الطهارة لصحة الصلاة. خلاص. الآن نريد الفوائد. The next benefit from this hadith is what? Imran. The virtue of wudu. Right? Okay. The virtue of wudu, the excellence of wudu. Whereas wudu is a means of you getting closer to Allah. Right? Jay, good. Fadl, what mean?
To understand that even though the wording of the hadith says one thing, it could actually have other meanings.
Based off of the text.
Exactly.
The only reason why we're saying it means this is based off of the what?
Text.
Of Quran and of Sunnah. For Sufyan.
If you prayed without wudu, there's no chance of acceptance. Forget about it.
Right, similar to the main point. Follow.
You pass wind, you have to make wudu.
Passing wind breaks wudu. Passing wind does what? Breaks wudu. We studied the chapter of things that break your wudu. You say what? Passing wind. But Kayf, how do we get that? The hadith says إذا أحدث حدث. It doesn't say إذا خرجت من أحدكم الريح. إذا أحدث. What does the word حدث mean? Hadath literally means something happening. When something falls, when something happens, something takes place. That's a faida asar al-hadith. When Abu Hurairah was asked about it. سئل عن الحدث فقال فساء أو ضرات. فساء أو ضرات. هذا فسر به الراوي أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه. Says passing wind. Right? Okay, so next faida from this hadith is what? Next faida from the hadith. Any other fawaid? That the Prophet received revelation. How? Allah doesn't accept. He can say that from his own what? Desires. Right? We say this hadith also proves is that there are acts of ibadah which Allah does not accept. And you can't just worship God, be a good person. But you have to worship God how God wanted you to worship Him. You have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based off of what He legislated, what He sent down, what He laid down. And then there's ibadah that can be performed which is not what? Not accepted. You can't say, I have a good intention, leave me be. حسن خص حسن يا أخي ليش تشدد على الناس في خص حسن خلاص يكفي لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم بمجرد قصد الحسن لا. Everybody doing this? Somebody have a good intention also, break wudu. And their prayer will be what? Invalid. And if it's invalid, then it is unaccepted. Everybody understands this is a very important point. And this is the whole concept of ilm, of knowledge. Why knowledge? Why classes? Why ilm? Sunnah, bid'ah, hadith, this, lish. The whole purpose of this whole entire thing is for us, bi'idhnillah, to